faculty, staff, parents, alumni, esteemed members of the Board of Trustees. It's so nice to see all of you here to celebrate commencement with us, the class of 2025. It truly is an honor to be speaking here today in front of all of you. Now, there are a few things in life that are hard to say. Some are hard to pronounce. For example, my parents' last names. They're long, they're Thai, and they're the reason I've developed a strange sympathy for so many of my teachers. Some words just feel awkward in your mouth. You flinch before you say them. You mumble them. You rehearse them silently and still don't get them right. Like anemone or Worcestershire sauce. Then there are some words that are easy to pronounce, but equally difficult to say. I love you. I'm sorry. Goodbye. They're short, familiar, but they carry so much weight that we sometimes mumble them, or scribble them down in a letter, or skip them altogether, and choose to express them as small actions instead, hoping the meaning lands anyway. But then there are those words that come out easily, without rehearsal or hesitation. That yell across the lawn when you see your best friend after break. That favorite expletive after you lose a hard-fought spike ball point. The inside joke shouted across a crowded hallway. Those words don't get stuck. They rush out. They land. Today, I want to talk to you all about a phrase that should be like that. A phrase that should never get caught in our throats. Thank you. It was during the walk-up from my dorm to the 100 Days party in February when my mom called me. Of course, it started out with her going, "Nate, why do you have such heavy eye bags? Why is your suit so wrinkly?" But it's what she said at the end that was so memorable. A challenge. Every single day until commencement, each of these 100 days, I would say thank you to a different person. And so for a while, I treated it like a task, a small, manageable checkbox on the to-do list of senior spring. I thanked my teacher for staying after class. I thanked my dorm mate for taking out the trash can so unbelievably full, our house counselor was about to call the health inspector. I wrote them down in my notes app, like little trophies of moral behavior. Said thank you, done. But after a while, it all started to change. Somewhere between day 19 and day 42, I stopped trying to remember to say thank you, and instead started noticing how much I had to be thankful for. I'd walk into a room and catch myself scanning for something small, something done just because someone was a good person. The friend who saved me a seat in Commons without me texting. That teacher who handed me my atrocious test score upside down and mouthed silently, "It's gonna be okay." And once I started noticing these moments, I couldn't really stop. It just became something I did. Not just saying thank you, but noticing things. The kind of things I probably would have missed before. Not because they weren't happening, but because I was too busy to notice. Or maybe I thought they didn't count. But they do. They really do. And now, 3 months later, here we are at day 100. I've said 99 thank yous to all sorts of people, and today marks the last one. But before I say it, I want to say this. I don't think being thankful is something we leave behind at Andover, or something that you start just because your time here is running to an end. At least I hope not. Because life beyond here doesn't slow down. If anything, it'll definitely speed up. There'll be new schedules, new cities. I'm gonna have to start paying for laundry again. And I'm gonna have to use a stove, unsupervised. I can see my mom's blood pressure rising right now. We're gonna forget to set alarms. We're gonna burn things in microwaves we swore were idiot-proof. We'll try to make new friends, learn new systems, meet people who have never heard of what AE is, or lawning, or the blessing that is head of school day. And in the middle of all of that newness, it might be easy to move fast. to rush past the small stuff, to treat thank you like an afterthought again. But I hope we don't. I hope we carry this habit with us. Not just the words, but the way of looking around. Because I think the real lesson of these 4 years, underneath the labs, papers, all-nighters, endless caffeine, is how to pay attention, how to care more deeply, how to notice people, how to show up. You already show your thanks in 100 quiet, different ways. The way you sit in silence with someone just because they don't want to be alone. The way you say hi to your friends who come in to class late, smirking, hoping your teacher doesn't notice. The way you say I love you by walking someone back to their dorm, no matter how close to sign in, even if it's the complete opposite direction of yours. Those moments don't look big, but they are. It's how you say, you matter to me, without ever having to say it out loud. So I think, if we keep doing that, even a little, we'll all be okay. Even when the future feels completely ridiculous, because let's be honest, right now, it kind of does. Soon, we're gonna be in places where you won't get a cut for missing class, but where you won't be able to walk across the Great Lawn and see 10 people you know. There won't be blue cards or cluster munches, but there won't be sign-in either. It's exciting and overwhelming, and at times, maybe lonely. But I think what makes it easier is knowing we're not starting from scratch. We're not going into the world empty-handed. We're carrying the people who shaped us, the words we shared, the small kindnesses that taught us how to belong. And if we're lucky, we'll keep finding these moments again. Across dorm hallways we haven't yet walked, in classrooms where no one yet knows our names, in cities where we don't yet know the fastest way to the dining hall. We'll meet people who remind us of those we already love. We'll find new versions of conversations we've already had here 1,000 times, on sidewalks and stairwells and library floors. We'll keep learning how to say thank you in new ways, in new voices, with new meaning. But before we start on that journey, my final thank you goes out to a few people. To my friends, especially those I've lived with this year in objectively the best dorm, Bertha Bailey. For being the kind of people who turned this place into a home. For the laughter, the poker, the video games, the late nights where we stayed up and figured out the world, just to forget all of it by morning. For making me feel like I've known you all forever. To Soraya for being the best co-pres and best teammate. I usually do whatever I can to get out of group projects, but this year-long group project with you has begun to change my mind. To my family for calling me every day, twice a day, for the last 4 years. To my sister Sophie for always telling me if my outfit looks atrocious, but for always being free to grab dinner downtown. To Mom for looking over all of my college essays, for making sure I don't slack off too hard, for literally being a superhuman. And to Dad, who always gives me the best advice whenever I go to him with any problem. Go talk to your mom. But of course, this last thank you wouldn't be complete without thanking all of you, the class of 2025. Thank you for letting me grow up with you, for being the loudest, kindest, most impressive people I've ever met. You've seen me on my best days and on the days when nothing made sense. And somehow, you make both feel a-okay. There's something incredibly rare about being surrounded by people who knew you when you still had no idea who you were. who saw you stumble, stress, change, but stayed close nonetheless. I'll spend the rest of my life being grateful that I got to become myself next to all of you. And now, I guess this is where I'm supposed to say goodbye. But like I said at the start, goodbye is just one of those words that's hard to say. And really, I don't think I can do it. Because I know it's not fully true. So instead, see all of you again someday. And thank you.
更多英语视频，请关注 Nate Onion English。